There are rivalries that are born to be temporary, and there are rivalries that become the foundation of an entire work. But when we talk about Goku and Vegeta, the conversation goes beyond who's stronger. We're talking about two paths that started from the same point, planet Vegeta, and went down completely opposite roads, only to meet again so many times in clashes that shaped the fate of the universe. But unlike what a lot of people say, their story isn't just an endless massacre of Vegeta by Goku. Actually, when we analyze the confrontations and decisive moments, their roles often switch. There are times when Vegeta has everything to win, and there are times when Goku simply didn't deserve to win, but the plot gives him a helping hand. That's why, in this video, we're going to break down the main battles and parallel evolutions of these two characters, including nowadays the hardest version to measure, and I personally checked that for you. Objectively and persistently questioning, without bias or romanticization. Who truly surpassed whom? The first big exchange of punches happens back in Dragon Ball Z when Goku and Vegeta face off on Earth. On the surface, it looks like the classic clash between hero and villain, but underneath, it was a collision between two survivors of an almost extinct race. One of them was raised in savagery and conquest, the other shaped by masters, friendships, and spiritual journeys. That's where the beauty lies for me. Goku had trained with Master Roshi, Kami, King Kai, and had already mastered the Kaioken, also knowing how to use the Spirit Bomb. Vegeta arrived on Earth with fierce determination, leading the mission with a power level of around 18,000, far surpassing Goku's 8,000 without the Kaioken. Even with all the shortcuts and overpowered techniques, Goku couldn't defeat Vegeta on his own. In fact, without Kuririn, Gohan, and Yajirobe's interference, he would have been badly defeated. Vegeta turned into a giant ape and started smashing everything, with the advantage that he had control over the ape. Goku admits he couldn't beat Vegeta fairly after their fight. However, in my view, Goku using the Kaioken technique thoroughly outclassed Vegeta. And even though Vegeta won, resorting to the ape was already a big humiliation. This already breaks a myth from the start, that Vegeta wasn't an obstacle for Goku. He was a wall of pure steel, and from that point on, the two would spend the next years trying to surpass each other, but through completely different paths. And this is where the fun comes back in, the differences. Advancing a few sagas, we reach the next iconic clash, Majin Vegeta versus Goku during the Majin Buu invasion. Here, the weight of the fight isn't just in the blows, but in what it represents. Vegeta finally snaps. Tired of living in the shadow of a low-class peasant, he gives in to Babbidi's influence just to regain that anger and coldness that, in his mind, made him superior. The thing is, Goku was dead, literally, and still came back with his body fully functional and with a lot of advantages. Even so, the two fight as equals, both in Super Saiyajin 2. But there's an interesting point. Goku was hiding Super Saiyajin 3. Why? Out of compassion? Out of strategy? Out of pride, whatever the answer is, the fact is that Vegeta, in a dirty way, won this fight. And at that moment, it wasn't brute strength that made the difference. It was the will to prove himself, to show that he still had control over his own destiny. And that's something Goku never needed to seek. He was always carried by the tide of adventure, while Vegeta had to swim against everything, including himself. When Dragon Ball Super began, many believed it would definitively establish the power gap between Goku and Vegeta. After all, Goku remained the protagonist. The God's chosen one, Whis' top student, the first to achieve Super Saiyajin Blue and Ultra Instinct. But if you pay attention, Vegeta not only closed that gap, he did it all by himself. In the Resurrection of Frieza arc, Vegeta didn't need to die, use the Spirit Bomb, or rely on his favorite techniques. Dragon Ball Super decided to train and did it consistently. More than that, he shaped himself based on his own identity, without copying Goku, which had been his pattern until then. Highlight the advantage he had of 6 months training with Whis before Goku, so he could fill that gap that was necessary to make the two more equal. The Tournament of Power shows how Vegeta began to develop his own unique character. While Goku was there exploring variations of Kaioken with Blue, Vegeta was sharpening his own Blue to achieve almost perfect control. Ultimately, Goku used a risky and unstable technique, while Vegeta opted to keep his feet firmly planted on the ground. This difference says a lot. Goku is instinctive, he takes risks, improvises, and plays with danger. Vegeta is technical, methodical, and proud, and this duality comes up again in the Tournament of Power. On the most chaotic battlefield in the franchise, Goku and Vegeta are placed side by side, literally, with the fate of the universe at stake. Here, Goku reaches the peak of his spiritual journey with Ultra Instinct. But what's most interesting is that Vegeta doesn't try to follow the same path. For the first time, he refuses to follow in Goku's footsteps and finds his own path of evolution, Blue Evolution. A form so intense that even the god of destruction from Universe 11, Toppo, respects it even while being crushed by it. Vegeta protects his allies and eliminates a highly dangerous tournament opponent. And unlike Goku, who reaches an almost divine state on impulse, Vegeta makes promises. He vows to safeguard his family and planet, fighting for their protection. His motivation is less cosmic and more human, and yet still powerful. In the manga, since we're talking about power, Blue Evolution actually reaches a level equivalent to the strength of Ultra Instinct Sign. Ultimately, Goku takes the spotlight as usual, but the tournament shows Vegeta isn't far behind. He's keeping up and can catch up as he does in the Granola Saga. It's in the Granola arc that this symmetry starts to turn into a mirror. While Goku deepens his mastery of Ultra Instinct, now in its true, calmer, and more controlled version, Vegeta finally accesses something new, Ultra Ego, a form that directly incorporates the teachings of a god of destruction. But unlike Goku, who needs to suppress his emotions to fight perfectly, Vegeta dives deep into them. His anger, his pride, his failures, all of these fuel Ultra Ego. It's interesting because up until this point, Goku was the master of control, while Vegeta was a well of impulsiveness. The roles have reversed. Vegeta accepts himself, making him more dangerous than ever. And yes, Goku still has a more refined technique, but Vegeta now has purpose. He is more balanced and, most importantly, has a power that he carved out with his own hands. At this moment, Vegeta hasn't exactly caught up to Goku, because Goku achieved emotional instinct. That form where he can unleash Saiyajin emotions with Ultra Instinct, and he actually became stronger than Vegeta. There's no denying it, but at least during the first half of the Granola Saga and the fight against Granola, Vegeta actually became stronger than Goku and surpassed him at that time. But the saga ended with Goku being stronger, and then we had the time skip, creating a new time period where many people are unsure about who is stronger after the training to defeat Black Frieza. If there's one thing Dragon Ball Super likes to do, it's leaving fans imagining what happens off-screen. The rivalry between Goku and Vegeta, for example, unfolds both in epic battles and in moments we only hear about, and sometimes not even that. In the Broly movie, their presence is essential, but it's interesting to notice that even though both are fighting the same opponent, the way the battles are built is completely different. Goku faces Broly with a playful, laid-back approach, while Vegeta is more serious and cold. And in the end, Goku is forced to run away and fuses with Vegeta, meaning Broly represents raw and untamed power. Goku and Vegeta represent experience and strategy. And here, none of them won, because the only way to survive was by joining forces. But it's in the movie Dragon Ball Super Superhero that the balance starts to surprise. Even with Goku still being the favorite of the story, it's Vegeta who wins in the final training. During that friendly and hilarious fight between them on Beerus Planet, it's Vegeta who wins that match without any transformations, and the craziest part is, they were fighting in their base forms. A pure, straightforward, and technical fight. No Kaioken, no Ultra Instinct, no Blue, just the two of them fighting as warriors, and Vegeta wins. This scene, even though it might seem like a joke to some, carries a huge symbolic weight. For the first time in a long time, Goku admits defeat, and Vegeta doesn't celebrate with arrogance. On the contrary, he accepts it with a smile, as if he finally understands that what matters isn't the recognition of others, but his own growth. What they never show us matters. And one of the most frustrating aspects for those who followed this rivalry is that many of the fights between the two happen off-screen. They train together for years in the hyperbolic time chamber, but we never see those exchanges of punches. After the Tournament of Power, they continue training, but the outcome remains uncertain, creating a paradox. Goku is always portrayed as superior, but when we actually get to see the two in direct combat, Vegeta often has the upper hand. He won in the Majin saga with that dirty trick, had won before as a great ape, showed balance against Granola. In the Tournament of Power he was surpassed, but showed he could still fight back, and he beat Goku in Superhero. Throughout all the sagas, Goku and Vegeta follow very different paths, not just in terms of technique, but also mentality. Goku is like a flame that never stops burning. He's always looking for something new, a stronger enemy, a more insane technique. But this search is light, almost fun. He wants to evolve, but he never carries the burden of having to prove something to anyone. Vegeta, on the other hand, carries a burden. The weight of his race, the weight of pride, the weight of always being behind someone who was born beneath him, and because of that, every step he takes comes with an emotional cost. He doesn't evolve by instinct, he grows through pain, and maybe that's Vegeta's biggest problem. While Goku turns defeats into excitement, Vegeta turns them into trauma. But that's exactly why Vegeta's evolution is more touching, and some argue that he's the best character in Dragon Ball when it comes to character development. When he overcomes a barrier, we feel it. When he sees Goku as a rival, not an enemy, we see growth beyond just strength. I don't really believe that Goku is the prodigy and Vegeta is the tireless worker, but I do believe that Goku wins because he can and Vegeta wins because he needs to. So who won? That question will always echo among the fans, but maybe it's not the right question. If we look at where the anime left off, today Goku with mastered Ultra Instinct is stronger than Vegeta with Ultra Ego. But Dragon Ball Super in the manga should return soon, and Vegeta went through training that possibly put him on equal footing with Goku. In fact, Toyotaro himself said that the characters on the cover of Volume 24 had similar powers. And I believe that Goku and Vegeta will be completely balanced. After the time skip and at the end of Dragon Ball Super, with more stories, they may end up balanced. Just like Naruto and Sasuke at the end of Naruto Shippuden. Even so, more important than power is to notice that Goku was always free and Vegeta needed to set himself free. While Goku always fought for pleasure, Vegeta fought for his Saiyajin instinct. And he also learned to fight with purpose. So, after everything, which side do you choose? Which one is the best? Is there a clear winner in your opinion? If you liked this analysis, please like and subscribe.